Welcome. In this video, we start our adventure in the Gloomhaven, Jaws of the Lion. Down at the table, there is some setup in this game. So once you open the box, it's going to give you a nice welcome, explain some of the components, show you how to punch your components out and put them in the nice tray, and what to open and what not to open. And of course, if I can't figure out how to play, we can go over to Watch It Played. But since this game is stressed on teaching you how to play, hopefully we won't need to do that. So to get started, the supplemental scenario book will not be needed for this, nor will the glossary. So we'll go ahead and set those aside. And this is just explaining that this is a fully cooperative game that's going to be played over a campaign of scenarios. And this book is meant to walk you step by step through the first 5 scenarios. So this is a teaching mode, and it wants us to go ahead and get to scenario 1. So set our stickers and our Gloomhaven map to the side for now, and read the cover of the scenario book. So it'd be good to get back to the Sleeping Lion after a fortnight going up and down the Still River, chasing a bad lead on a missing blacksmith. You can almost feel the warmth of the inn's hearth when Gloomhaven's walls come into view. You are almost home. To be fair, it's not just the blacksmith. An alarming number of people within the poor districts of the city have gone missing. Usually nothing comes of it, though. Just another poor soul forgotten out here on the edge of civilization. The blacksmith's wife, Sandy, however, managed to somehow scrape enough money together to hire you to find her husband. You're not sure where the money came from, but no matter the source, couldn't have come easy, which makes it doubly painful to return to the city empty-handed. True, Sandy was a little light on payment, but you are the Jaws of the Lion, one of the most well-known mercenary groups in this backwater dump of a town. Surely it can't hurt to take a charity case every once in a while. Getting good jobs is about maintaining a reputation after all, which is why you really need to get to the bottom of this and not return to the widow with nothing but the calluses on your feet. Also, you probably shouldn't call her a widow to her face, at least not until the fate of her blacksmith has been confirmed. Given, however, that none of those who disappeared have returned, the outlook is grim. As these cheery thoughts pass through the mind, you notice movement up ahead and immediately draw your weapon. The sun has dipped low in the sky, reducing visibility, but you can clearly see some ramshackle wooden barricades blocking the road in front of you. And sure enough, as you cautiously approach the scene, vermlings jump out from behind the obstruction, flashing crude swords and sharp sticks. You have to admit you are quite tired of the day's journey, but still those oversized rats certainly picked the wrong group of travelers to ambush today. You are the Jaws of the Lion, after all, and are always ready to show there is only one outcome for anyone who dares threaten you. So you've got rewards, new location, Roadside Ambush 1. If you haven't yet, read the first section of the Learn to Play guide before continuing to Scenario 1. So back in our Learn to Play book, we've noticed our rewards. This means we take the first sticker from the sticker sheet labeled Roadside Ambush and place it in the B1 square of the city map board such that the artwork lines up like so. So we will take this sticker here and place it up here. Now we have a location on our map. So the city board tells us what scenarios are available to play. But first we need to decide on characters. And since I'm playing solo, lets me know I need to control 2 separate characters. And on here, it's letting us know we've got 4 options to choose from. We've got a demolitionist, which is good with melee and obstacle destruction. Hatchet, range damage and looting. So right off the bat, I like having melee and range. Then we've got a red guard for protection and monster manipulation, and a void warden for healing and support. So here are our 4 boxes with characters in them. So we'll go ahead and look at Hatchet here on top, see what we've got inside. So as this shows us, we are going to have a set of deck of small cards. We've got 2 that have halt on it. We will not be using those. And then we've got a campaign sheet, some small punch out tokens, our character mat, and we also have an initiative token that we punched out in the boards. And then our main cards, and this is telling us we just want our player reference card and the first 6 of these, which is going to be have an A labeled in them. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Then we'll put the rest back in here. So I'm not saying I'm committed to hatchet. I do want to look at the others. And just from here, looked like I wanted a ranged piece and a melee piece. But when I look at the other figures, I like the look of Red Guard, and I'm good with hatchet. So these are going to be the two I'm going to go with. And according to this, once again, hatchet is range, damage, and looting. And the Red Guard is protection and monster manipulation. And of course, we do have dials for our health and something that we'll figure out later. But I am probably just going to use some dice for those tracking. So next on the scenario rules, we've got play area setup. And for that, we're going to go back to our scenario book and just flip it open. And we've got our first scenario already set up for us. The Learn to Play guide just goes over the different pieces of that, which we'll go ahead and do now. So up top, we've got the scenario number, title, and map reference, along with the goal, which is going to be simple, kill all the enemies. Then we have a scenario key, which will list the monsters we'll be using in this. So we'll be having the Vermling Raiders. Then we have a map layout, which just lets us know we're using pages 2 and 3, and that's going to be our complete map. So in future scenarios, we might have to get the supplemental book and have 2 books next to each other. Then we've got some introductory text. So the road back to Gloomhaven has been long, and now to get attacked by vermlings when all you want is a warm meal and a soft bed, well, it makes you mad. Mad enough to kill these mangy creatures before you collapse from exhaustion. Of course, the vermlings have other plans. They gibber about wanting your coin and the meat on your bones. Nasty things, really. Best ignore the ranting and end this quickly. So the special rules, make sure each character's starting hand consists of their 6 ability cards marked A. And the Vermling Raiders will act on initiative 50 each round. They will first move their base move value of 1, and then if a character is adjacent to them, attack for their base attack value. Then in these blue boxes, there are tips. So place each of your character figures on one of the 4 indicated entrance hexes. We also have a conclusion and rewards, but we don't worry about that until we've actually finished our fight. Down here's another tip. All hexes with a green border are obstacles and cannot be entered. The demolitionist can destroy them, though, at which point a destruction token is placed on the obstacle, and it becomes a normal hex. Tip, remember the icon setting up monsters. On this hex, no monster is placed for 2 characters. So you can see there's 3 rows. We've got a black, a white, and yellow. So the black means in a 2-player game, nothing goes there. In a 3-player game is a second, and a 4-player game for the last one. So in a 4-player game, we'd have an elite unit, 3-player game, a normal unit, and a 2-player game, we do not have one in that location. So you can see our other areas, we'll have a normal unit here, an elite monster, normal, nothing, and normal. So for our player setup, we're going to get our player mat. Down at the bottom, it does tell us at what level we're at and how many health we have. So we are level 1. We will have 8 health. And it gives us some nice symbology. Our active location, lost cards, discard, and items at the bottom, and conditions. So we'll just place that out on the board. We'll have our player reference card handy. Take our specific attack modifier cards, give them a shuffle. And these are your standard mini European size cards. We'll have our 6 A powers. A hit point tracker, but instead of using this tracker, I'm just going to use some dice. And an initiative token we'll just have set out here. And our miniature will go out here. So I did do a quick paint job on there just to provide some color. And we'll throw him right there. And we'll do the same thing for the Red Guard with his player mat. His 6 starting cards. His attack modifier cards. He starts with 10 health. And then his miniature we'll throw in the back corner here. Then we need to set up our bad guys. So we'll get our little Ziploc bag. For this, we're just going to need the tokens and the initiative tracker. We won't need the cards. Since the scenario has it set up, it's going to have an initiative of 50. It's going to move and attack. So these are numbered, but numbers aren't going to matter. We just know we need a normal one here, which will be number 1. We need an elite there, so we'll get a yellow stand. Then a normal. That space doesn't get one, neither does that, and we get a normal up there. And we will take our Vermling Raider card, looking at the 1 here, and take our envelope and slide it on in. So this is going to tell us the hit points for the normal and elites, movement, attack, and then this is a track so we can track the health for the number on the standee. And they do get their own attack modifier stack. And I think I will go ahead and just move them over here. So that is everything for the setup. Then we get to playing the game. So this is going to go over a series of rounds. Each round we're going to have card selection, ordering of initiative, character and monster turns, and then end the round. So for card selection, each of the players, we're going to choose 2 of the cards we have. Basically what we're doing on our turn, this is going to set our initiative up. So assume I pick these 2 cards. I could choose to go at a 35 initiative or 64. We know the enemy is going at a 50, so I can go before them or after them. And from these 2 cards, we need to use a top part and a bottom part. And that can be changed or decided after we start our turn. So for Hatchet, I'm going to choose these cards and place them like so. So this is hidden information, even though I know both. But once we decide, we'll flip it up and we'll know that's my initiative. And then for Red Guard, we'll choose these cards, going with initiative of 87. We'll then flip over to reveal, seeing we've got a 24 and 87, and we know these guys are at a 50. So Hatchet goes first, then the Raiders, and then Red Guard. So Hatchet goes first, so I can choose to either move 3, and of course on the starter cards, they do have the blue Texas to really explain what's going on. Move up to 3 hexes away, and attack 3. One adjacent enemy suffers 3 damage plus the modifier card. Or I can do a move 4, and I've got a ranged attack. So one enemy within 3 hexes suffers 3 damage plus a modifier, and we're at disadvantage if adjacent. So that just means at disadvantage, we're going to draw 2 and take the worst possibility. So what we're going to choose to do for our first item is move 3. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. And then we're going to attack for 3 on this guy. And the modifier is going to be a 3 plus 0. So this is Vermling number 1. So we'll put a 3 in the number 1 location on this. And he does have 5 health. So that was Hatchet. Now all the Vermlings are going to go. And they start with their elite version. So the first thing monsters do is they try to focus on one of our guys. And that is determining by the least amount of movement it takes to get to one of them, which is obviously going to be Hatchet. So he's going to focus on this guy. Once you get towards him, he's got a movement of 2. Or I'm sorry, just a movement of 1. So he's going to move 1 space. He's only attacks adjacent, so he is done. Then the remaining are going to go in numbered order. So we have a 1, a 4, and a 5. So this guy doesn't need to move to attack, so he's just going to do 2 damage. Going to the modifier, so he's doing 3 damage to him. So from 8 to 5 health. Then this will move one space closer, and it can't go in our green hexed areas, and this one will move one space closer. So now it's the red guard. So he can either do the top here and the bottom over here, or vice versa. So right off the bat, I see I didn't choose wisely on here. This targets all adjacent enemies. These guys just don't move fast enough to get to us. So what I'm going to do is move 4 spaces, or up to 4. So 1, 2, and 3. So we've done that. So that was the bottom. Now the top, attack, target all adjacent enemies. We have 1 adjacent enemy. We deal 2 damage, plus a separate modifier for each. So this is a -1, so we're just doing 1 damage. Unfortunately, that's not going to be enough to kill it. Takes it up to 4 out of 5. That ends the round. At the end of the round, we'll check all the discard piles. Basically, we're looking for this icon on any of those, and if there is, we'll reshuffle their modifier deck. But since there isn't, we'll go on to round 2. So for Hatchet, we're going with Stopping Power and Disoriented Barrage. And we'll go Flaming Sickle and Shocking Advance for the Red Guard. So we'll flip over. So he's a 63. He's a 35. The Vermlings are still 50. So Hatchet goes first. So what I want to do is immobilize, target 1 adjacent enemy, and move 3. So 1 adjacent enemy cannot move until the end of its next turn, then move up to 3 hexes away. But I want to lead into the Disorienting Barrage. So up to 3 enemies within 3 hexes suffer 1 damage, plus a separate modifier for each. Disadvantage if adjacent, and gain disadvantage in all their attacks until the end of their next turn. So that's Muddle. So we're starting with this. So we get to immobilize. We're next to 1. Then we can move up to 3 spaces, but also want to be within 3 of several, up to 3 enemies. So from here, 1, 2, 3. So I can move there. I'm within 3 of this one, and that one. We've already done that. So up to 3 enemies. Suffer 1 damage plus a separate modifier. So starting with this one, he takes 1 damage. We don't need the modifier because he dies right with that. I guess we'll go ahead and flip it. So that would have been a ×2 damage. But either way, he's out. Then we will go at this guy. So it's going to be 1 -1, so no damage on him. And then 5 on the back will be 1 damage. So Hatchet is done. All these guys are going to go. So he moves 1, he's hitting for 2, and his modifier is going to be a -1, so 1 damage on Hatchet, down to 4. Then the rest of these are going to move 1 space. Then we have Red Guard go. We are going to move up to 3 hexes away. So 1, 2. Then the top ability here, 1 enemy within 2 hexes suffers 3 damage plus a modifier. It would be at disadvantage if we're adjacent. We're going to see if we can just kill this guy off. So that's going to be a base 3, and that's just an auto miss. So that ends the round. So this does have the reshuffle symbol on it. So we'll take these and shuffle those back in. And set that to the side. And we had the same thing for Hatchet with his double symbol there. And we'll final those up for a shuffle. And now our third round. So for our third round, we only have 2 cards in hand. So the only thing we've got to think about is initiative. Do we want to go early or late in the round? And since Hatchet is hurting, we want him to go early. So we're going to choose the 18 initiative. And I really don't need to hide these since I know what's going on. And for red, he's got a 41 and a 90. We might as well just have him go early in this one also. So our initiative track, we'll swap those around. Hatchet, Red Guard, then the Raiders. Hatchet going first. We could heal, but I think we're going to move so we can set up this ability. So up to 2 enemies within 3 hexes suffers 2 damage. So it's a separate modifier for each and disadvantage on this if we're adjacent. So he is going to move 1, 2, and 3, making sure he's within range 3 of both of those. So we're done with the second wind. And now 2 damage on 2 targets within a range of 3. We'll go with the elite first. And it's going to be +0 damage. So it'll be 2 damage on him. And then this guy in the back, another 2 damage, so he's up to 3. Then the Red Guard. I think what we're going to do is go with a move 4. Just move 2, 1, 2, get adjacent to both of those. Then we're going to use our shield spikes. 2 adjacent enemies suffer 2 damage, so no attack modifier card is drawn for this damage. So that is taking our elite up to 4 damage, this guy up to 5, and that will take him off the board. Then our Raiders go. So this guy's got a base 2 attack coming in, 4 damage. So Red Guard feels that one. And this guy's just moving ever so slowly. So now we've gotten to the point where neither one of us has cards in hand. All of our cards are in our discard pile. We need to take a short rest. So at the end of the 3rd round, all of our ability cards are in the discard pile. We'll need to get some back. If a character has at least 2 cards in their discard pile, not just if their hand is empty, they may perform a short rest. So when we short rest, we're going to take all our cards in the discard pile, shuffle, and place one randomly in our lost section. Now, if we don't want to lose that card because it's too good, we can suffer 1 damage to lose a different random card from the discard pile instead, but that can only be done once per short rest. So for Hatchet, we'll take his cards, get those randomized, and we are going to lose stopping power. And then for Red Guard, we are going to lose Desert Knight. And now we proceed as normal. All right, we're going to see if we can take care of this guy this round. So we're going to use Center Mass and Double Throw using an initiative of 24. And we'll go with initiative of 41 with our shield spikes and a flaming sickle. So once again, Hatchet first, Red Guard, and then the Raiders. Hatchet is going to start playing the Double Throw, getting +1 to all your attacks this turn. And then this, 1 enemy, 3 hexes suffers 3 damage, so it's going to be 4 damage. And the modifier, so 6 damage. Well, that worked well. So that took him up to 10 damage, which is enough to take out to that one. Which means I was planning on doing some melee here, but let's see if I can figure out something different to do. So that's a range of 2. We've got no movement. So I think we'll just do a heal 2. You or 1 ally within 2 hexes deal or heals 2 damage. So we'll pick this over Hatchet, let him go up to 6. And then the top ability is not going to do us any good there, so just wasted. Then the Raider gets 1 space closer. So for Hatchet, we're going to use this for initiative of 25. So close cuts and the barrage. Red Guard coming in with initiative of 14, shocking advance, and a blinding sickle. So Red Guard will go first for once. And we are going to use the bottom ability here to move up to 4 hexes away. So 1, 2, 3. Then we're going to do the attack 3 and immobilize. So one adjacent enemy suffers 3 plus a modifier and cannot move until the end of its next turn. So we're doing 3 damage plus nothing. And then for hatchet, we are going to do a move 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Nope. This is where we get in trouble with potential movements there. So we moved 4. We're going to do our barrage here, up to 3 enemies. We've only got 1 to target, 1 damage plus a modifier. So it's a complete miss. So the raider lives, and he will attack our red guard with a base 2 times 2 for 4 damage. Ouch. Down to 2 health. So end of round, we've got some shuffling to do here for hatchet. And we also need to shuffle for the Vermling Raiders. And we are both at 1 card in hand. So it's time for another short rest. So we're losing our shield spikes. I'm going to choose not to take a damage to keep it. So these go back to our hand, and the same thing for hatchet. Losing center mass. Nope, we want to attack and run, and we want to go quick. So that's what we've got for a red guard. And then this is where it's easier in a solo play. If you're playing multiplayer, I've got to assume he wants to go quick, and I wouldn't want to go before him, so I'm going to choose to go slow here. So red guard will go first, raider second, and then hatchet. So the red guard, he's going to do his twirling stabs. All adjacent enemies suffer 2 damage plus a separate modifier. So if he can get nothing negative here, so he does 3 damage, and that's going to be enough to take care of that. We officially, everyone still gets to complete the rest of the turn, but there's really nothing for us to do. So we have met our goal of killing all the enemies. So we will move on down to our conclusion. So you wipe the blood of the last vermling from your face, and your thoughts return to the sleeping lion. Surely they've got a stew ready by now. Would be so perfectly warm and soothing. And it's right through that gate, so close you can already taste it. Then another thought comes. It is highly unusual, brazen really, for a pack of vermlings to operate this close to the city. Could they be behind the string of disappearances? It's a long shot, but one worth investigating, especially considering this ambush site doesn't look like their base of operations. There's probably a nest nearby. With any luck, you will have more information on the missing blacksmith. And treasure. Treasure would be nice. So rewards, new location, a hole in the wall. So we are going to place another sticker on our map. So I've added another sticker here. So we've completed one. I can put a check mark through that, but I'm not going to. I don't want to. I might play this with other people. So I'll just remember I've done that. So we can't do the same completed scenario more than once. So next is there. Next, we'll get in our player box and we can get our campaign sheets out and put our name on there. And notice we're at level 1. To go to level 2, we do need 45 experience. So we can keep notes here, how much gold, about our items, and some perks that we can potentially get. We then get some card upgrades. So these are going to be labeled as B. So we will add these to our deck, but we will remove the A version of the same name. So we're getting a Flaming Sickle and a Desert Knight B, but we have to remove the A's of those. So we will lose that. And the Desert Knight. So we still have 6 cards. Just some upgrades. So the Sickle, just for comparison. We've got the same attack and range, but this has pull. So the one move, or the enemy we target is moved 1 hex closer to you. So that's the Sickle upgrade. And then the Desert Knight We're losing an attack, but we're getting target one enemy within 2 hexes to disarm them. And I guess on the bottom, we've got a move 6 instead of a move 4. And on the Flaming Sickle, we had an attack 2. Now we get a loot 1. Collect all money tokens and treasure tiles adjacent to your hex. And for hatchets, we're replacing center mass and close cuts. Close cuts was just an attack 3. Now I've got an attack 3, so all enemies in the targeted area suffer 3 damage. So it's actually going to be hitting 2 different enemies. And on the bottom, in addition to the move 4, we're also getting a loot 1. But this is new. Then collect and then lose this card. So that's a one-time use. Then for center mass, looks like the top is staying the same. On the bottom, instead of just a move 3, we're getting a move 3 and a push 2. Target 1 adjacent enemy. 1 adjacent enemy is moved up to 2 hexes away from you. And that is scenario 1 completed. As always, thanks for watching along as I learn to play. If you enjoyed this video, please click on the like button below and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching.